Thank you for joining us for Pet Connect. I'm Tara Douglas. With this being the first Pet Connect of 2023, I thought I would review some of the accomplishments that Feral Dogs of Avondale Mill had in 2022. For those of you who don't know who Feral Dogs of Avondale Mill is, we are a local 501c3 nonprofit organization here in the Sylacauga area, and Feral Dogs is made up of volunteers that are dedicated to try to get rid of the feral and stray overpopulation of cats and dogs we have in this area. So in 2022, they were able to sell, let me look at my notes here, 1,076 spay and neuter vouchers. That is amazing for this area. Then we also had 921 dogs who left for rescue in other states and 336 cats. So that's a grand total of, let me look at my number. Well, actually, we also had 191 cats that were in the spay-neuter release program. So with that included in the number, it's 2,527 dogs and cats in this area who will not be reproducing. And that doesn't include some of the dogs and cats that left the shelter. That doesn't include, of course, the responsible pet owners in the area. So we are hopefully getting a hold on this problem here in the area. And with Feral Dogs, they do lots of different things. So we appreciate all of the volunteers who helped get animals ready for transport, who help take the dogs to the vet and cats to the vet, help take dogs and cats to other states, the ones who were there to clean cages at PetSense for the cats, which, by the way, we have an adoption event I'll talk about later at PetSense this weekend for cats. We have so many volunteer opportunities with Feral Dogs. I can't even name them all, but we appreciate everyone who volunteered this year. And one thing that we implemented in 2022 was a new large-scale dog walking event every Saturday at the shelter. And that is where my special guest here comes in. So we have Lynn Averett here. She is one of our most dedicated dog walkers. So Lynn, thank you so much for coming on the show.
You're welcome.
We appreciate what you've done. So tell our viewers a little bit about who you are.
Well, my name's Lynn Averett. I live in Childersburg, Alabama. I have 3 dogs, a cat, and 5 chickens. Yeah. I'm a dog person, a cat person. I'm an animal lover. My dogs were on their way to be put into the shelter.
Okay.
But I adopted them from individuals, but they were going to take the dogs to the shelter, you know, and every time I said no more dogs, that would happen. So right now that's what I've got, and there are 3 different personalities. In the cat, she's 20, and she's a little senior cat, so we have a nice happy little home. I started walking the dogs about a month and a half ago. Yeah, and so I still have a lot to learn, but I have really enjoyed it. It's been such a blessing.
Well, we appreciate, and we can tell how much you love those dogs because you get there and you know all the dogs. I'll bring a dog out of the shelter and you look at it like, oh, there's Jefferson, or there. So it seems like, and everyone has such a good time. So tell our viewers a little bit about the experience of walking dogs. So I always tell people how much fun it is, but from a dog walker herself, what is?
Well, I mean, you get to interact with the dogs. You get to understand that these dogs are really good dogs. They're very, very adoptable. They need a home. They need love. You have all different kinds of personalities and different levels of dogs, from small to big, some that walk with you and some that will walk you. I love them all. I have my favorites, of course, but you know, everybody will. If you go out there, you'll start developing a relationship with them and you know, and trying to make sure and hope that the best for them. They all deserve to be adopted. You also get your exercise in.
There's a picture of you with Jefferson there.
That's Jefferson, and he's a good boy. We had a good time that day, and he takes a good picture, doesn't he?
He does. He's a handsome dog. And he's one, if I remember correctly, that does pretty well on a leash.
He does. If you see, he's not pulling me or anything, and he never did. He just walked beside me. Every once in a while, he would stop, and he'd want you to lean down and pet him. And so they enjoy us coming out there, and they enjoy spending time with us. And sometimes that's the only time they get out of their kennel is when we come down there to walk them. And I never thought about that.
And it's good that the community thinks about that because the shelter is full pretty much all the time.
Yes.
And that's overwhelming for the shelter staff that's there to try to take care of all those dogs. They just don't have time to get them out. So that's where the community can come in.
I think one day, didn't we walk almost 60 dogs?
We did.
Because of the amount of people that came out, and that was almost all the dogs that were eligible to be walked.
And there you are with Tabitha. I
And
have a better
Tabitha-
picture of Tabitha later, but
Yeah.
that's one of the volunteer favorites for sure.
Tabitha is a sweet, sweet girl. She is very mild-mannered. She's very well-behaved. She's just easygoing. She's not reactive to the other dogs when you walk. Of course, we try to keep our distance, but she doesn't try to pull to go to that dog. She just loves the attention, and she is beautiful and would make somebody a very good dog in their home.
She would, and every volunteer that comes to walk her falls in love with her. And
Yes.
so she has been passed over for rescue. And that's one thing, I don't even know if you know this aspect of it, but there certainly with the pandemic, a lot of people adopted animals that later on when their lives got back to normal, they didn't want them anymore.
Right.
And so it's become a crisis across the country with shelters filling up. And so, we have a crisis here with the number of dogs and cats that need homes, but it makes it harder for the Feral Dogs of Avondale to find rescues to send dogs. So even though I gave some great numbers for 2022, those numbers are less than they have been in years past because it's harder to get homes for animals. And so Tabitha's one of those dogs that is, every time I'm there, I can't believe she hasn't found a home yet.
Right.
But we're having trouble finding rescues that will take certain dogs. So they'll only take dogs they know they can adopt out. And so that's where I hope we find a local person that will love to have Tabitha.
Yes, and these dogs are at the shelter for the most part through no fault of their own.
Absolutely
I mean,
not.
we have, I don't know why, but there are so many stray dogs, so many unwanted dogs, and they wind up at the shelter. And that's sometimes if they're lucky.
And you mentioned seeing a dog in your...
I walked out this morning to come here, and there was a dog in my carport with no collar. He was about a little halfway up my leg high. He's a large dog. And totally wet, no collar, and I've never seen this dog in my neighborhood before. And I'm pretty aware of the dogs that are in my neighborhood because I feed them when I walk and stuff. But I'm like, who are you and where did you come from? And do you have a home? But I mean, I didn't have time to, if it's still there when I get home, I'll see what I can do.
Absolutely.
But that's the kind of thing I face in my neighborhood on a weekly basis.
And we face it in neighborhoods all through this
Yes.
area. It's not out of the ordinary to see that, unfortunately. And that's where we need people like you who see that problem and are willing to try to do something about it.
Right.
Not necessarily, you've got your own dogs, not necessarily take the
Right.
dog into, but figure out what do you need to do to help this dog get to its next step.
Right, and everybody says, well, why are you going to send it to the shelter? Well, what do you want it to happen? Do you want it to stay on the street and starve? At least at the shelter, if they have room, at least at the shelter, they're going to get fed, they're going to get vetted, they're going to be highlighted and put up for adoption, and maybe somebody will come along that really wants a dog.
They'll have a chance. And with the Sylacauga shelter, we have on the Facebook page, that's one of the things, I mentioned several things Feral Dogs of Avondale Mill do, and there's so many things, more things that I didn't mention. But one thing is that we have a group headed by Terry Brooks that's at the shelter every Saturday to take pictures of all the dogs at the shelter, take pictures of the new dogs that come in, figure out what kind of demeanor they have, if they get along with other dogs, if they do great with kids. And that way we can have those pictures posted on Facebook under photos and adoptable dogs. And she can also share those with the different rescues that we work with. And that way we can let more people know about the dogs that are available there. And so
Right.
you're right. And now here's Hawkeye. He's another one that I
he's a beauty.
absolutely can't believe he's still at the shelter.
He's adorable.
He's
Look
a
at
very
his coloring.
he has such an amazing coloring and markings, and
Yes.
he's a very sweet dog too. We keep
Yes,
saying they're all sweet, but they really are.
They are
And-
sweet. Some are more energetic than others, and that would be what you would look at when you started to bring a dog into your home. What is it that you need and you want in your home and you're able to deal with? But for the most part, they're all just extremely good dogs.
They are. And if you are, well, there's McGraw.
Oh, yeah.
No, that's Andre. That's not
So
McGraw.
Andre, that's the
That's
Dane.
So he is a Dane mix.
See, I'm
and
sitting with him.
I
He's
know
one of my
you-
favorites.
I know you've fallen in love with Andre. So tell us a little bit about Andre. What have you discovered about him?
Well, we thought he was older, but he's not. He's about 2 years old, and I know that he came in a little underweight, well, a lot underweight, but he is getting his weight back. he's getting his health up and everything. I know that he is very, very loving. He's very gentle. He does not pull a leash. He does not react to other dogs that I have had a problem with. I don't know about cats, but Andre is just a sweet soul. And last time I walked him, when you came in to pick him up and take him back inside, he buried his head under my arm. He didn't want to go in, so he got to stay out a little bit longer. He conned us.
Lynn got to sit there and take care of him.
Because I like to just, even after I walk him, I like to just kind of sit with him for a while, because like I said, most of the time that's the only time they get out, and he just seems to need to be out and enjoy the interaction with other people. He'd be a great dog for adoption.
Absolutely.
I'm not sure if he's ready yet or not, but he will be.
And you weren't able to be there this last Thursday because you had to work, but that was the first day that I went to get him out of his kennel, and he was excited and kind of and tried to quick step. He wasn't really running out, but he got out there and he went for a full walk. You know, he's a dog. I mentioned him at a previous Pet Connect and said he seemed tired, but he's not seeming so tired anymore.
I think he's getting healthier.
He's definitely getting healthier.
I hope to see him Saturday.
And that's another thing. You know, I'm just kind of sprinkling in different things that Feral Dogs of Avondale Mill do during this segment, but they were able to pull Andre and help take him to the vet and pay for his vet bills so that we could figure out what was going on with him. So that is another thing that Feral Dogs does, is that, you know, we help take care of the shelter.
Anything major. I just think it was
just
neglect.
just trying to make sure that he was healthy and feeling better.
He is a beauty.
Absolutely. Now we're going to have some other dog pictures pop up.
Okay.
So, well, here's Cole. So
there's Cole.
He must be a Basset mix of some sort with maybe a little bit of pit bull in him. He is the sweetest dog. Now, you said that he liked to run.
He does like to run. He will run with you. If you run, he'll run. He does not drag you, but he will run with you. And the reason I know he won't drag me, my running is more like a real fast walk, but he will run. And he has a lot of energy, and he likes to play. He also loves to be cuddled and petted and loved on. And he's posing very well right there.
He's doing a great job.
I think we finally got him to be still. But he is a beauty.
Now, he came to the shelter. I don't know his story. I believe he came from animal control, and he was a skeleton when he got there.
Oh,
so
really?
the shelter has done an amazing job getting him healthier and helping him get to his normal weight, what he should be.
The shelter does a great job. They do a great job of getting the dogs adopted out, taking them to transport to rescues. And I know of one particular circumstance in my neighborhood where they got 39 dogs and puppies at one time from one house.
That must be the house. We still have 2 dogs that are available. McGraw is one of those dogs, I believe, from that situation.
Yes, and they were good dogs, but they were in a terrible situation. And they took those dogs all at one time, and they got them adopted, and they've taken good care of them. Unfortunately, it's probably fixing to happen again. I mean, these people are getting dogs again because they just like to get dogs.
Well, you know, we got so many opportunities for people with the spay and neuter vouchers. We talked about that 1,076 spay and neuter vouchers that were sold. Now, Feral Dogs raises money throughout the year so they can provide those for the community. They're always available at Mutt Cuts on Calhoun Avenue here in downtown Sylacauga. And then periodically during the year, as funds come in with Feral Dogs, they're able to provide those $25. I believe that Alabama Spay and Neuter in Irondale is raising their prices a little bit this year, so that may be a little more, but that's still a lot less, and it's a great way to get your animals fixed, because you can be a part of the solution or a part of the problem, and my hope is that people will start spaying and neutering more.
It's the only thing that's going to help the population of dogs and unwanted dogs and cats in our community.
Absolutely.
If you're bothered by stray dogs and everything, make sure you get yours spayed and neutered, because it won't happen.
Absolutely.
You know.
Now, we have some other dogs. We may have some pictures pop up here. There's McGraw.
McGraw.
Now, he's also just a dog that you can see he's hugging Anthony Rodriguez. Anthony is a dog trainer, and he likes to work with McGraw when he's there. McGraw, I believe, came from that animal hoarding situation you were talking about.
He looks like those dogs.
And he is just the sweetest dog. He's going to need a very high energy home.
Yeah.
Because he is he's a lab mix, and he is a typical lab and loves to run and
He'll
loves
swim probably. He'll probably hike with you. Whatever. If you're an active person, you'd be perfect for him.
And poor thing, he is growing up at the shelter. He's been there about a year now. So
Yeah, it's been about a year.
yeah, so he needs a home, and he's such an exceptional dog. Well, that's Tabitha also. That's a better picture of
Yes.
her. We showed her with Lynn giving her love a minute ago.
Look
But
at her.
Tabitha has the opportunity right now to be in a foster boarding situation. So she was picked up from the shelter, I believe it was a couple of weeks ago.
Really?
And we have someone who is in this area who boards dogs, and she's going to be on the show in a couple of weeks, by the way. Her name's Meredith Dempsey. Meredith comes and takes some dogs that have been there for a long time that need out of the kennels for a period of time, or she takes some of the more shy dogs to help them. Tabitha by no means is shy. Tabitha is such a good dog, but she's having an opportunity to be outside of the shelter and the kennel for a period of time until Meredith decides to take on another dog. But Tabitha is such
got
a
a
treat
perfect
of a
name.
dog. She does.
So girly.
She does. Now we have. I think we've gone through all the dogs. You had one picture of a dog, Anya, that was one of the first pictures that we showed. She is a pretty small gray dog, and Anya, you've done such a good job working with her to
like
help her
Anya.
because she's scared. She's a beautiful dog, but she's timid, and we do have a lot of timid. Not a lot, but we have quite a few timid dogs
Yeah.
at the shelter. There you are with Anya right there.
Yeah.
And it's just so helpful for our dog walkers to get dogs out and let them understand the world and realize that there's something else and they don't have to be scared of every situation.
That was towards the end of our walk. At first, she was really afraid, but she was really coming out when we got back here and you took the picture. She enjoys being out. But
Absolutely.
she is scared. I mean, it can be a very scary environment.
And like Lynn was saying at the very beginning, there's something for everyone. If you want to come and walk an active dog and get your exercise in, then come and walk an active dog. If you want to sit with a scared dog that needs some love or a younger dog that needs some love, then there's that opportunity too. And and if that's the kind of dog that you want to adopt, then we've got more information. Like Lynn here, she's been coming for 4, 5, 6 weeks now,
Yeah.
and so she has a lot of information about the dog. So you got this unique opportunity to adopt dogs from the shelter that we have more information about.
Right.
Either through the foster situation with Feral Dogs of Avondale Mill or the dog walkers. We have a lot of information about their personalities, so people can make a wiser decision in the dog that they bring into their
Yes.
home.
Yes.
Absolutely, because that's what it's about. You want to be able to keep a dog in your home, and it's your family, and you'll have that dog for life.
And if you have a dog and you're not sure if they're going to mix, I think they'll allow you to bring them in there and see and introduce
Absolutely.
them to one another.
Absolutely. And we have a play yard there. Feral Dogs of Avondale
Yes.
Mill has the play yard at the shelter. If you are interested in adopting a dog, if you go to the Facebook page and you see a dog that you would like to adopt, you can go and meet the dog. Do more than just walk through the shelter, because those dogs are so excited to see you when you walk by that it's almost intimidating when they're jumping on that gate to come and talk to you. Take the dog out to the play yard. Give them a few minutes to unwind and to decompress, and you'll really start seeing their personalities, because that's one thing with the dog walkers that people keep saying, like Lynn said earlier, is that those dogs are really sweet. I think some people come to walk the dogs, they don't know what to expect, and they get there and like, wow, these are really nice dogs. They're not there because they did something wrong. They're there and they need homes, and they deserve homes, and they're
They do.
very good dogs. So
They are good dogs, and yeah.
yeah, so come join us. Come join Feral Dogs of Avondale
Get your
Mill
exercise.
and get your exercise in. And you can come out and talk to Lynn and talk to me, and we'll get you a good dog to walk. So we'll be there. We're
Yes.
back on the regular Saturdays at 11 a.m. starting this coming Saturday. And we also have an adoption event coming up. Here it is right here. We have
Right
a
there.
cat adoption event at PetSense. It's Saturday, January 7th from 9 to 2. So if cats are your thing, you can go to PetSense and meet some of the kittens that are available. You could also come by the shelter, and if you don't want to walk dogs at 11, there's a room of cats at the shelter too that need some love. And we would appreciate you coming out and supporting the Feral Dogs of Avondale Mill, and find you a kitten or a dog that you'd like to have as part of your family. And don't forget, we have spay and neuter vouchers available, like I've said a couple of times, throughout the year. So let's start this year right and get some, and keep that spaying and neutering going like we've been doing with Feral Dogs for the past 7 years or so. But Lynn, thank you so much again for
Oh, it's
coming
my
on the show.
pleasure. No
And
problem.
we'll have you on again once we have a new crew of dogs and some more information that we need to give out.
Yeah,
It's
I hope to see everybody out there Saturday. We can walk a mile very quickly if a lot
Absolutely.
of people show up.
We've got a system now.
Tara
It's-
has to keep up with the dogs, not me. Hand me a dog.
we can let you start learning how to keep up with them. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next week on Pet Connect.
Yeah.